Hello there and welcome to the Leeds podcast. I am Darragh and I'm joined by Rocco D.
Hello.
Unfortunately, James can't be with us tonight. We said we'd just pop on, do a quick special given the quality of the match last night and the fact that we were all together for it. We thought it'd be a great time to do a pod, but unfortunately James can't join us tonight. However, he will be back on Sunday following the Preston game, and we'll have his beautiful dulcet tones to lead us through the review of that Preston match. So, Rocco, last night we all met up. I flew over from Dublin and we had our Leeds Christmas party.
It's fantastic, wasn't it? Absolutely wonderful. We had a box. We were loading it up over Elland Road in our ivory tower, weren't we?
Yeah,
phenomenal stuff.
Yeah, it was lovely to have been gifted that by Hisense. So that was fantastic. Thank you very much to Hisense. First time in a corporate box for me for a match. 3-course meal, plenty of drink, lovely hospitality. I'd say Leeds put on a good show.
Yes, yeah, 100%. The food was a bit late coming out though. Nearly missed kickoff, didn't we?
That's because you were late arriving. Me and James were there from 5:30.
Okay, yeah, traffic was horrendous. I arrived at like 6:30. Had to wolf down the desserts just in time for marching on together coming out. Yeah. I think we should say thanks to Ken Bates and Fabian Delph for paying for the lovely boxes that they created. Got rid of 4,000 seats off our capacity attendance, but all worth it now. Everything's forgiven.
Yeah, in fairness, I noticed it's very uncomfortable with you that we were actually in that corporate box instead of amongst the fans. I have to be honest, as much as I enjoyed it, it's not something that I would relish or do every week. I think I really want to call the ref a W, and I want to sing Marching On Together with gusto, and I want to scream and shout, and it just doesn't really seem to be the place for that.
Well, we were like within 2 minutes, we were told it's not a standing stadium, and we had to sit down, even though there's like the people behind us are like 5 feet or 5 meters in the air above us. So that was annoying. Yeah, not quite the same. I must admit though, like James asked me like a few minutes into the match if would you do this regularly? I was like, oh no way. But then by the end, I was like, oh, when can we do it again?
I think the nicest part about it, I will move on to the match very, very soon. I think the nicest part about it was halftime because you had somewhere kind of nice and warm to go, and they came in with a few little pies and stuff, which were nice, just kind of warm you up. But lovely experience, and thanks once again to Hisense for gifting that to us. So onto the match. Oh, before we go on to the match, competition time. So last week on Sunday we ran a competition to win 2 of Rocco's books, as Rocco is now demonstrating for our YouTube viewers. Now, obviously, the plan was that people would need to like, subscribe, and comment on that YouTube video, and it would run it for the week. We weren't planning on doing this one, so we said, look, to be fair, let's extend the competition to this video too. So if anyone would like to be able to chance to win Rocco's books, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment on this video as well, and we'll combine the 2 for the week, and we'll pick out one lucky winner who will have Rocco's books in time for Christmas.
League One Leeds and the O'Leary is, and yeah, I'm off to the post office tomorrow evening, so the clock is ticking.
But that's good news for our lucky listeners, because they will actually have the books in time for Christmas, which are a great read or a great gift, because I know I gifted them all last year to my family, and they absolutely loved them. So, Rocco, on to the game. Kickoff happened, and then Leeds happened.
Yeah, they were at it, weren't they? It was a great start. I don't think Boro got out their own half for about, 10 minutes or so. I mean, we scored after about 15 minutes as well. So it was great to see. Nyonto came in, as I thought, which was good. Thought he was looking really good. And Wober as well, down the left wing. Concerned that we might not get the attacking output that we got from Firpo, but I thought he was excellent.
He was, in particular in the first half. I mean, Leeds really came out of blocks firing. Team selection seemed to be kind of forced upon us. Obviously, Bogle was missing, and Junior Firpo, who'd be 2 of our regular back 4. But to be fair, when you bring in Sam Byram and Max Vuber, there's no loss of quality. In fact, there's an argument to be made that both of them are better than the 2 players they're actually replacing. I think, in fairness, the only issue with Byram is his injury problems and the fact he struggles to play a 46-game season. Other than that, I think it's fair to say he's one of the best fullbacks in the league.
It's crazy. Byram's performance yesterday, I left the ground thinking that it was sort of like really understated, but, quality, but understated. I couldn't really remember him doing anything apart from just thinking he'd had a good game, and then watch the highlights, and he's involved in everything. I mean, obviously we'll come on to the tackle, but there was a ball down the line that set up the first goal as well, and he was the one that got a little tackle in that sort of, stopped them being completely clear through second half. Yeah, he's a great player, isn't he?
He is. He was super. And to give Vuber his credit as well, I thought he was man of the match in the first half. I'm going to absolutely hammer him for the goal that we conceded. And not for the reason people will think. I'm going to absolutely hammer him. But he was brilliant in the first half. And as far as I know, Ben Doak is pretty much Middlesbrough's absolute danger man. And to be honest, he was just in Vuber's pocket for the whole game. And it just goes to show the quality, because obviously Ben Doak has been coming up against championship left-backs. They were decent left-backs, decent professionals, but they're not Austrian internationals who cost 15 million quid and play Champions League football and were in the Euros in the summer. So I think he was outclassed really by Vuber, particularly in that first half.
Yeah, could have been a bit of a blessing in disguise, at least last night, having him at left back instead of Firpo, and maybe that'll be the case going forward. We've seen it so much over the last 2 years with Farke. Someone goes out, another guy comes in, and it's just the other guy just suddenly looks better. I mean, it's uncanny. It's happened 7 or 8 times over the course of these 18 months. I don't know. I've never known it to be so consistent. The guy coming in just then keeps his place. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, they just kind of seem to slot into the system. That's got to be full credit to Farke, really, and his coaching staff, that people know the job when they come into the system. And just speaking of knowing the job and coming into the system, Joseph got the nod up front ahead of Peru. And I think his performance will split opinion. It was Ramazani, he still has to wait for his chance. And as you mentioned about players coming into the team, I thought Ramazani was probably our best player when he got injured. And now he's struggling to get a place in the starting lineup. I don't think that'll last. I thought he's absolutely quality.
Yeah, me too. He's top of our average ratings at 7.8, and he can't even get on the pitch. I mean, like my mate Tom, who's a Boro fan and was with us yesterday, like he looked at the team sheet and he was like, "Oh my God, look at your bench!" And it is absolutely ludicrous how good it is. But we're just a class act, aren't we?
Well, speaking of benches, we had a return of Luke Ayling on the Boro bench along with Johnny Howson. Yeah. We used to see Johnny Howson at this stage, but yeah, Luke Ayling. And I noted that they had a Jones, a McCormack, a Howson, and an Ayling on their bench. So it could have been a Leeds bench for all intents and purposes. But the first chance of the game really fell to Dan James. A bad ball from, I think, the midfielder who was looking for the centre back, and then James was through a goal and hit it from 20 yards. Bit of a tame shot, Rocco.
Yes, it was absolutely terrible technique. It was the Dan James of old. And I don't know if I was cursing him, but 2 years ago I would have been massively cursing him. But what a player he's become. It was a one-off, whereas it used to be the norm. Now we know better. His efforts got better and better as the game went on. He
certainly did. And I don't think you cursed him, because we might have ended up in a fight, because I can't let anyone say anything bad about my Danny James. I had my 1-year-old saying Dan James in the back of the car today when I picked him up after returning from the airport. But the thing is, that mistake was probably indicative of some of the issues with Boro had in the first kind of half hour or so. The keeper looked well dodgy. Kind of back passes, kind of going everywhere, slicing his goal kicks and his kick outs. Few kind of not fumbles, but certainly not safe hands, you'd say.
Yeah,
I think that gave us a bit of hope.
I think they looked nervous. They didn't look like they were playing within themselves basically, and Leeds just completely ran all over them. And I think Tanaka and Rothwell, they just set the tone, and they couldn't really cope with us, could they? And it was no surprise when we took the lead. Yeah,
and speaking of taking the lead, I think that goal was a really bit of a keeper error in the end, but it was a really well worked goal from Leeds. Right up until that point to force the pressure. And I watched it back there today. You see that kind of patient build up, not around the back, waiting for the opportunity, probing. It falls to, it doesn't fall. It was passed out to Sam Boyram, who releases Dan James down the right wing. And James gets an early cross into that corridor of uncertainty. I think one of their players got a touch on it. To be fair, Joseph did very, very well to get across his man. I'm not sure if he got a touch or the other guy got a touch. It doesn't matter. Credit Joseph with it anyway, because the fact that he was there is what put the pressure on. And then obviously it bounces off the keeper and falls. I understand. I saw the ball fall between the keeper's legs. And I kind of closed my eyes And then when I looked up, the ball was in the back of the net because the keeper had kicked it off Nonto in a panic.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a weird goal, and yeah, like took me back to what I was saying at the weekend of getting into those wide areas and not having enough people in the box. And when James crossed it, there was only Joseph there, but he, like you said, he put a real good effort in to get in front of his man. It was the defender that got the touch, but it's positive that he did that run. But I think, like you said, Joseph's performance split opinion massively, according to Twitter. I thought he did well, but still, again, the movement in the box, because I was paying closer attention to it, there was a few occasions where good balls were going in and he just wasn't anticipating or he wasn't gambling enough. But on this occasion, he did do well, and Gnonto was there steaming in, as all the midfielders should be. And yeah, I mean, the keeper, it was a funny one, wasn't it? Could he have got back to his feet? Could he have just tried to shield it somehow? It was a calamity, obviously. But yeah, I don't know if he was in any way unfortunate.
I think it might have been. If I look back on it now, the ball didn't actually sit between his legs. It was beyond his legs, and he actually had to stretch to kick it. So he had no other option, I don't think, other than maybe if he had quicker reactions, he might have caught it. I suppose that's probably the only thing. But I suppose whenever a keeper kicks it off a striker's legs and it goes straight into goal, there's only one person to blame, and it is the keeper.
Yeah.
And not long after that, then Boro had a penalty appeal. Certainly, certainly there was more made of it on TV. I don't think anyone in the ground even batted an eyelid.
No, their players, I don't even think they really appealed all that much. I think looking at it, it is a penalty probably, and VAR would give it 100 times out of 100. But yeah, that's football.
Yeah, exactly. As I would say, there's no point in pretending it wasn't a penalty. But equally, as Leeds United, we go through that 10 times a season, 20 times a season sometimes, where we don't get what we deserve. So, as you say, these things balance themselves out. It's football. Get on with it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it really pissed me off, actually, listening to Carrick at the end of the game. Saying that he's really disappointed they didn't take anything from the game and talking about these types of incidents when the team's just been played off the park. Fair enough, it might have changed the game, but we had 17 shots to their 4 or 5 or something. You've got to just look at the football. You'll get some decisions, you won't get some decisions. And yeah, that's the beauty of the Championship, that we don't have this crap interrupting the matches.
Yeah. As you say, because in the ground, we didn't bat an eyelid. It looked like the guy had taken a dive, or either way, Rodon maybe got the ball. It just wasn't an issue for us in the ground. I think if that had gone to VAR, we wouldn't have a clue what was going on. That would have ruined the experience. Yeah. The next big chance then I have marked down here is a fierce shot from Willie Gnonto. So he's on the left wing. He cuts in inside on his right foot, and we're all urging him to shoot because we know he's got that power, and he smashes it low and hard. Keeper can only palm it out as far as Brendan Aronson, who puts the rebound straight into the defender's legs.
Yeah. Good strike by Willie, and I'd like to see him do that more often. There was a few times he got inside, and I just think whenever he's got a shooting opportunity on the edge of the box, he's just got to take it because he's got a foot like a hammer. And yeah, we've seen him score, great goals in the Premier League. He can do it. He can beat these keepers. He nearly beat that keeper, even though it was practically straight at him. Made a decent save, but yeah, another yard wider, and that would have gone in. So yeah, I'd like to see him do more of that. But then should we talk about Aronson?
I was about to say that miss. I think when I watched it back on the TV, it doesn't look as bad as it looked in the stadium because we were kind of right behind that. We were kind of on the halfway line.
The one that went over the bar.
Well, I'm going to come on to that one in a second. But even that rebound, the rebound from Gnonto, it was there for him to just kind of curl it in to the far post. And whatever way he hit that shot, I think it was going wide on the near post when it hit the defender's legs. It was such a poor shot. And as you say, Aronson, another one who's divided opinion today. What do you make to him?
Obviously I've said that I've liked Aronson this season, and I've enjoyed watching him, and I think he's done well. Obviously he's been getting worse. Yesterday it seemed to me like it was just sort of back to the Aronson that I have liked, but that people have still hated. But actually, because we won and he scored, a lot more people seem to think that he had a fantastic game. We were just basically making the Aronson noise all game, weren't we? He'd get the ball, do a couple of lovely turns, and then the best he'd do is win a throw-in, you know. He doesn't have that end product, does he?
The Aronson noise. You're right. And for anyone who hasn't heard the Aronson noise, it's been basically described as Aronson gets you excited for a second, but then ultimately it comes to nothing. So it's like, yeah. God. Which is basically the Aronson noise. And I think that again sums him up yesterday. As you mentioned, the one he spooned over the bar, like that was a great opportunity. Ball over the top. I think it was maybe Rothwell. Finds Sam Boyram on the edge of the box. Boyram touches it down. It looks like he was heading for Dan James, but it went ahead of Dan James. Fell perfectly for Aronson, who's 16 yards out with the ball in his right foot and no one anywhere near him. And he spoons it 20 yards over the bar.
Yeah, it was such bad technique. Like he had no chance of scoring, kicking the ball in that way. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look at Dan James. This is the thing. Like I hated James in the Premier League. Like even in the Championship, I thought he was going to be useless. And look at him now. So I'm still hopeful for Aronson. I really am. And he did have a good game yesterday, you know, but he's got to get a lot better. So let's hope he does.
Yeah, his end product has to improve. And he was saying that, like, there was one ball he put through for Dan James, where he put Dan James 1-on-1 against the keeper, and he just couldn't quite get there. But it was a good ball, and he slid it in between the two defenders. But I think for everything good he does something equally bad for it. And that's the thing, like, he's so good on the half turn that whenever the ball comes to him and he turns on it, he turns midfield into attack so well. But then the attack tends to go nowhere. Because you know his final ball or even his decision making before the final ball is pretty poor.
There was some lovely stuff there. Yeah, absolutely. And then like some of his little body swerves, and you know he's got a real ability. So yeah, it's just got to knit it all together now. What is he? 22 probably now. Would you say? Might even be
24 at this stage. Yeah. Do
you think? Yeah.
And we signed him as a 21, 22-year-old. That was 3 seasons ago.
Yeah, probably.
But he's got to improve. I said I am rooting for him, but I'm probably not as optimistic as you. I don't think he has it. I said when we took him back, his decision making had driven me crazy in the Premier League, and I haven't seen any improvement in it. I think he's just playing against lower class of opposition, so he's getting a bit more. But I will come on to his luck at the goal momentarily. So the next thing that happened then was we started the second half and Boro got an equaliser.
Yeah, I mean, I was disappointed. Second half, I thought we came out really slow, bit sloppy. Not, you know, just not. Let them back in the game. Basically, I like Boro came out better, of course, but I think it was more about us letting them back in it rather than Boro completely like imposing themselves on us. And yeah, Meslier made a really good save at his near post. Like that's the type of shot that normally beats him. He'll like go down too soon, or he'll get a biscuit hand on it and it'll go in. But he made a good save. And then you said you were going to slam Vober for the goal, and I'm going to slam Meslier, and we're gonna have a massive argument, I think. So let's get into it.
We nearly had an argument on WhatsApp, and we said, you know what, let's leave this for the pod. So this is all live and authentic. We both have very opposing views on this. So yeah, I'm going to hammer Vober for the goal. So leading up to the goal, I had noticed in an attack that Boro had that Ben Doak had stayed way up the pitch. He was the furthest man forward, and he was still hugging the touchline. So he was in like a far right position. And Vober stayed with him. And I turned around to Justin of Bassenbly, and I said, look at that, like, Vober is obviously man for man with Doak. So fast forward a minute, 2 minutes later, and Doak is in the same position, breaking with the ball because we've lost the ball and it's been played up to Doak. And Vober is nowhere to be seen. So I think that's okay, because you see Rothwell is sprinting after him and he's out to get him, and that's fine. When you've got a double pivot and the fullbacks go forward, your double pivot covers either right back or left back, so that's fine. But the problem was I went looking for Vober. Where is he? Is he busting a gut to get back? And he wasn't at all. He was doing a fast jog. It wasn't a sprint and it wasn't a slow jog, but he was doing a fast jog back as opposed to breaking himself in two to get back. And because he was coming over so slowly, Tanaka had to vacate the middle of the pitch and go across and help Rothwell so that Doak couldn't turn inside. And Doak couldn't turn inside, but he saw Tanaka coming and played the ball inside, which opened up the middle of the park. The guy was in about 30 yards of space in the middle of the park. He played it off to his left-hand side, our right, and Sam Boyram was very unlucky to get a toe on it, but it was still went to the defender, or to the striker, or winger, who had a shot, and obviously Meslier saved it. So my hammering of Vuber is that he didn't break his backside to get back and to double up with Rothwell, and that is actually what cost us the corner, because Tanaka had to vacate the centre. And I would say Farke's going to be analysing that this morning. He's going to hammer Vuber for that.
We'll probably come back to that. I don't know if you noticed that happening for the Meslier save when he rushed out at Doak's feet. Boba, exactly the same. He was absolutely nowhere to be seen, and that's why that happened, and he was jogging back. But back to the goal, yeah, I mean, I can't like the amount of stick that Meslier gets this season. And I've not seen anyone have a go at him for this goal. But what I will say, obviously, like, he's penned in on his line, they're surrounding him. The first thing I would say, I don't understand why, like, Gnonto's there, like, protecting the keeper from the attacker who's trying to obviously sort of distract Meslier. But I don't understand that tactic. Like, just let the striker do what he wants. And if Mellier's impeded, you know, I know we've seen times where it's not a free kick, but I'd rather just risk, you know, getting a free kick if the striker's going to impede Meslier. The striker can't actually touch Meslier, but he ends up getting caught behind Gnonto. And his decision to sort of, he goes around that wrong side of Gnonto, like he should retreat to his line and try and get across that way, but he goes the other way, which was completely crazy decision, and he's just left completely hapless. I mean, a goalkeeper's got to be a lot stronger. I mean, I thought it was absolutely appalling goalkeeping, and that's from a Meslier apologist. But yeah, on this occasion, I was very disappointed.
Yeah, to give you your credit, you've been actually fully in the Meslier supporters camp this season when everyone else has been giving him grief. So actually, I went back and had a look at the goal, and I do agree with you. I think Meslier is too tied up in fighting the guy on the line rather than actually just getting into position and letting the referee do his job. The one saving grace I will give him is that the ball is very clearly about to be headed by Max Vuber. And I'm guessing he kind of thought for a second, I'm all right here. And maybe that split second as he sees the ball coming from Vuber's head, he thinks, right, he's going to head it. I'm okay with regards to his positioning. And then obviously Vuber hits it. So it looks like he actually turned and headed it into the goal. Maybe he was trying to head it out for a corner. Maybe the ball was just on the wrong side of his head or something. I don't know. But that's the one kind of mitigating factor I would throw on the table in favour of Meslier, because I thought he had a very good game. As I mentioned, that one where he came out and smothered Doak, and there was another one where he came out as well. There was two. There was one left off the highlights where he came out and mopped up. So I thought he was excellent. On Vuber, actually, I will give him a little bit of benefit of doubt. He hasn't played a lot of football this year. I'm hoping he was huffing and puffing. That's why he wasn't getting back as quickly as we would have liked. So I'll give him benefit of doubt. Yeah,
that's probably fair. But yeah, the Meslier save where he rushed out, I mean, that is a brilliant decision. Like, that decision making, that like decisiveness from a goalkeeper, because he didn't just come out to narrow the angle and the guy miscontrolled it. The commentator said that the guy miscontrolled it. I don't think he did. I think Meslier was just absolutely awesome. He's just like, right, I'm getting this ball, and he just flung into it, fully committed, and it was a brilliant decision.
Yeah, it was reminiscent of kind of the top keepers. It was, he had his chance and he either stays or he goes, but if he goes, he commits to it. And he just went for it, no doubt in his mind, and he got there at the perfect time, and he was strong. He was, fairness, Ben Doak's probably 5 foot tall. Many is quite skinny though, so they probably weigh the same. But he absolutely went through the Ben Doak there and just made it his, which was very commanding. I think as a defender, you see the keeper's on it today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was at that point where I was starting to get annoyed at Farke for having to wait until the 70th minute. And I should say, actually, Michael Carrick does exactly the same as Farke. The Boro fan was moaning, saying that Carrick only makes changes in the 70th minute, no matter what. So Farke isn't the only one. Maybe they did their badges together or something.
Yeah, that was an interesting insight into a different manager. Because as I say, I was a Leeds fan, I couldn't care less what any of these others are doing. But I assumed Farke was on his own with this strange notion of only doing subs in 70 minutes. I think at 62 minutes, it had gone a bit flat. They were on top of us. And you actually said now would be a good time to get some subs in and to kind of G up the crowd. Alas, we had to wait. But I guess it's a results business. So I guess he was proven right in the end, because the ball breaks to Dan James, who tries to side foot it low and hard into the bottom corner. Wasn't hard enough. Keeper gets down, saves it, grabs it, throws it out to their right wing or left wing. Ball gets recycled. This is the famous tackle from Sam Boyram, who flies in midfield. Actually, I was like, who was that? Like, I knew it wasn't Tanaka. I thought it might be Rothwell. What a tackle. Like, ball's played into a guy in centre midfield, and in comes Sam Boyram out of absolutely nowhere, frunging, fully committed tackle, wins the ball. Ball drops to Peru. In fairness to Peru, what a touch. Like, that was, I've called him a Deal's version of Mark Viduka. That actually was Deal's Mark. That was full on Mark Viduka. Like, stretching with his left foot and brings it down with his toe. It's dead onto his foot, passes it out to Dan James, who smashes it into the top corner.
And we had the perfect view of it as well. It was absolutely beautiful. But the Byram tackle, that's just amazing. And the thing is as well, like, a lot of our chances were coming from Boro mistakes, playing a bad ball into midfield like the previous one, and Tanaka nips in. Obviously it's good from Leeds, but it was sloppy and poor by Boro. But on this occasion, not at all. The guy gets the ball in midfield, he turns and then slam. Byram's just gone absolutely through him. Absolutely loved that. What a finish. The technique on that. It's that thing that we used to complain about it. It's like a stabbing motion that he used to do, but he used to always slice it. He'd just go into the cup, and this just absolutely perfectly pinged into the top corner. Yeah, what a sight. And just the ground erupted. It was a great atmosphere, actually, we should mention, all night, really. Obviously, it lulls at times, but it was a fantastic atmosphere last night from the start. Their fans helped as well, but it was, the Kop and the South Stand all contributing. It was wonderful moment.
Yeah, actually, on the atmosphere, before we go back to the goal, I thought it was one of the better atmospheres I've experienced in the last few years. Maybe since we haven't said Bielsa yet, so maybe since Bielsa's left, I thought it was one of the better atmospheres. I got to give a bit of credit to Boro. I don't like crediting other teams as a bitter Leeds fan, but Boro fans came and they sang and they chanted, and I think we enjoyed that, particularly the South Stand and that Southwest corner really enjoyed it as well. And I think what really helped was there was a point where Boro thought they were goading us, and they started singing Leeds, or we all hate Leeds scum. And the Southwest stand started singing it, and that spread across the South stand, through the East stand, into the North stand, and into the West stand. So by the end of it, the whole stadium, except the Boro fans, were singing "We All Hate Leeds Scum," and it just shut them up. It just quietened them down. They just piped down after that, which was fantastic. So well done, Leeds fans, for that. I think that's the hilarity of Leeds fans, how we can turn something like that into something so funny and just take ownership of it. So it was brilliant. But back to the goal, full credit to Justin of Bass and Fly, because when Dan James side-footed it to 30 seconds in, and it literally was, I think it was 32 seconds before that, Justin turns to me and he says, he really needs to just whack it, didn't he? And I said, yeah, but because I've always bemoaned if they whack it, hit it straight at the keeper, so I want to whack it but to the side of the keeper. And when he scored, grabbed each other and went, he whacked it. But as you mentioned, we were kind of halfway line on the East Stand side. So the minute he hit it, you could see it. The minute he left the second it left his boot, you were like, that's it. The celebrations were fantastic.
Glorious.
And another one on Dan James. We heard a few stories about Dan James, didn't we, yesterday? I won't name names of people who told us or what they were about, but a few people were saying they kind of knew people who'd been working in Torp Arch or around Elland Road, doing jobs for players and bits like that. And every one of them said Dan James is the nicest guy you could meet. I think he gave a kid his jersey. Yes, was it James' nephew?
Yeah, James's nephew. James signed shirt.
Yeah, fully signed shirt by all the players on his 100th appearance for Leeds. So I mean that's such a beautiful thing to do. Give James's nephew that signed shirt. And then someone else was saying that he absolutely loves Leeds. There's one thing about Dan James is he loves Leeds.
I can't believe he's made 100 appearances already as well. It's amazing.
He should have made more. Should never have been allowed going loan.
Yeah.
Should never have been allowed going loan. And he got a chance.
But the wrong chant.
Yes.
Not the right chant. Not the Dan James Appreciation Society chant.
No, we sang it. There was 5 of us singing Dan James Appreciation Society. No, he's here, he's there, he's every effing where, Dan James. And that came after he'd saved us at left back when, again, Doak was in down the right-hand side. He was one-on-one with Rodon. He took him on down the outside, and literally out of nowhere, in comes Dan James at the left-back position near the touchline and just takes it off his toe and zooms off up the pitch with it.
Honestly, I'm actually a bit gutted that we failed to mention it in its allotted slot, because that should never be brushed over. That was an amazing moment. Like, there's certain moments in Elland Road where you remember them when, not a goal, but just like a totally different type of incident that sounds innocuous if you weren't there to see it. But yeah, James just sprinting the length and breadth of the pitch and then just taking it off the right winger's toe when he's playing right wing for Leeds himself. Oh, absolutely loved that.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And maybe the best thing for his career was to not be coached by Jesse Marsh. So Marsh, that worked out quite well for us. But then we head into injury time. 7 minutes, bizarre. Like, we've had teams who have been, wasting time against us after 3 minutes, and we don't get 7 minutes. Boro, to be fair to them, came to play and did play. There wasn't any injuries. Well, Rodon was down for about a minute.
There was Rodon, a couple of minutes.
But it wasn't 7. I don't know where he got 7 from. But either way, ball played into midfield again. Guy thinks he's about to take it. Tanaka flies in front of him, wins it. Ball goes to... no, that was the one to Peru. Sorry, that was the one where Peru took it down with his toe and laid it off to Dan James. And then Dan James looks like he has Aronson in the middle of the goal. But I'm not sure if you saw, I saw Tanaka continuing his run on the outside. I was like, Tanaka! And in fairness to Dan James, as you said, when you hated him, he would never have seen that pass. But his end product is so much better now. And he completely bypasses Aronson. If you watch the replay, Aronson's face is like, oh no, because he thinks the chance is gone. Doesn't realise Tanaka's behind him. And twinkle toes Tanaka goes up to the keeper, looks for all the world like he's gonna shoot himself. And then he just knocks it to the side where it hits off Brendan Aronson's standing leg and goes in.
Yeah, miscontrolled it into the net. Lovely. I was actually quite like James. Was it James or you? I can't remember, saying that you really wished Tanaka had scored it, but I want to be in the cop for when he scores his first goal. I would have felt shortchanged up there for Tanaka's first goal. I want to be on the pitch when that happens. Yeah, fair play to him for squaring it. And Aronson gets his goal, which I'm happy that he got it. He's on to 5 now. That's a respectable number, isn't it?
Yeah, like, in fairness, his goal scoring record's doing all right. He needs to improve the assists, as we mentioned kind of a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. His assists, he only has 1, whereas Rucher had 9 at this point of the season. But he's ahead of him on goals. So I'll take that.
Yeah.
Did you think he had actually shot it in? Because I've looked back at replays and I cannot for the life of me see him swinging a leg at it. I'm pretty sure it hits him.
No, it just sort of hits him, doesn't it? I don't know if he even had time to react or what, but it went in the back of the net. One of them. And
then he runs off celebrating on his own instead of going to Tanaka, which I thought was very funny.
Yeah.
Run off celebrating on his own as if he's beaten 4 men and whacked it into the top corner.
Tanaka celebrated like he'd scored himself, as he should, really, because he practically did.
Yeah,
he put it in the net off.
Yeah. Tanaka was had an interesting game, actually, because he was brilliant for about 75 minutes, 80 minutes. But there was a 10-minute spell where he lost the ball a couple of times. Now, one time he did get back and make a fantastic sliding tackle on the edge of the box. But yeah, he did have a few minutes, so maybe it just shows that he's mortal. But that was my first time seeing him in the flesh, and I realised just how important he is to the system that we play. Like, seeing him drop in to make it a back 3, but then him being the one on the ball when he has that quality that like Stroke and Rodon just don't have. It kind of reminded me a little bit of when Ruud Gullit went to Chelsea and started playing sweep. And I think Glenn Hoddle did it a bit, or the old kind of Beckenbauer for Germany.
Yeah.
And I know he's a midfielder, but when he drops into that back 3 and takes that ball and either drives forward with it or picks a pass, he is like an old-fashioned libero.
Yeah. He's a complete class act. He's brilliant. So, yeah, let's hope that he can be just as good in the Premier League next season. He looks awesome. And this is the thing, actually, I said, I don't know if I said it on this, but like I've been thinking, we've not seen Tanaka in any game against an opponent who is like, we've never seen him as an underdog. Like Leeds are, controlling every game. It's probably quite easy for a player to shine in this situation. Not saying that I don't want to do him a disservice because what he's doing exceptionally well. But last night was a test for Leeds, and he was still a complete class act. So yeah, let's see how he does against the cream of the crop next season.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully he'll have that chance. I don't think he's going to have any issues with it. I think he's just going to get better and better. Player ratings, Rocco.
Player ratings, Meslier 7, Byram 7, Strauch 7, Rodon 7, Boba 7. Could have had an 8 if he didn't
Could have had an
score.
8 if he hadn't done
Or
that.
failed to track back. Tanaka 7, Rothwell, I wanted to give him a 9. We've not even spoke about him. I love him, but we'll go with an 8.
No, talk about him now. He was excellent. He was absolutely all over the pitch.
The engine on him is absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, I don't know if it's from like seeing him from that view up above, just absolutely everywhere, and just so classy on the ball, so composed, driving us forward. His set pieces are awesome. What a player. Like, he can't have been this good last season for Southampton. I refuse to believe it. He's just amazing. I wish they'd ask him that question, like, is this the best football of your career? Because well, if it's not, I might watch some videos of him, because I absolutely love watching him play. He's awesome.
Well, actually, if any Popey or if Graham Smith or anything is listening to this, that's actually a great question to ask him. If he is, if you do get a chance, I mean, it's got to be his best football of his career. It just simply has to be. And I said it last week about, we should absolutely sign him regardless of if we go up or not. I mean, there's so many players. I'll say it again. There's so many players who come to Leeds and sink with the weight of that shirt and just can't play. But he seems to be relishing it. He's fantastic. And when he gets the ball 20 foot, well, he gets about 35 yards out with the ball at his feet, he's so dangerous because he moves with the ball so quickly, but he can also pick a pass. So defenders don't know what to do, which gives us great options. They don't know whether or not to come close to him and try and engage him, or to stand off him and cover the men so he can't pass it.
Yeah, it's great to have. And yeah, I mean, Ampadu came back for the last few minutes. Looked a bit rusty, actually, but don't know. Yeah, unless, I mean, realistically, I just don't think he's going to drop Aronson. So I can't see Ampadu getting back in until there's an opening due to injury or suspension, or if we lose a couple of games. I just don't see it. But the way Farker talks, he talks like he's going to come straight back in. So maybe he will drop Aronson, but yeah, I really don't know what he's thinking.
You're right, actually, because I don't see him dropping Aronson. I don't think it'd be fair to drop Tanaka or Rothwell, but I think he probably will drop Rothwell.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a funny one. Like, he kind of has no problem dropping Dan James from time to time either, which I can't get my head around.
Yeah, maybe he'll just rotate him like he's doing with the wingers, to be fair. You know, he's got the 4 best wingers, so he rotates them. He's got the 3 best midfielders, so he'll probably, maybe he'll do the same. Or rotate Tanaka and Rothwell.
And speaking of the front 4, what are their ratings?
They all got a 7, I think, didn't they? Oh, no, Joseph got a 6.
What did Dan James get?
All right, God, what am I on about? Right, Aronson 7, Yonto 7, Dan James 11. No, I think Dan James did he get a 9 in the end?
I would give him a 9. I thought he was...
Give him a 9.
For that defensive work as well as the goal.
Yeah. Got to do it. And his 100th appearance as well.
And giving James's nephew his jersey after the game.
Yeah. And Joseph 6. I mean, I was toying with 7. 6 is probably right. But I mean, again, I'm still with the Peru from the bench thing. Like, you know, came on yesterday. We scored 2 goals. He has a massive hand in
both of them. He was tracking. Yeah. He was pressing. He was winning balls.
Yeah. Joseph tires them out and then he knocks them down. I think that works best. I mean, yeah, when we've got a lot of games coming thick and fast, rotating them is working as well.
Can I throw a conundrum at you? Right. So
yeah,
Joseph tires him out because Joseph runs around, puts himself about. I didn't think he put himself about much yesterday. I don't think he won 1 header. He didn't look great on the ball. His hold-up play wasn't super. He still was okay. Like, he was busy and he was game and he gave his best. But they're all the things that Patrick Bamford is also good at. So if we're going to have a striker who's not scoring goals, but is occupying defenders, making runs, hold up the ball, is Bamford better at that than Joseph?
You could make a case for that, yes. But I'd rather see Joseph, just in case he gets really good. And I can't be asked seeing Bamford anymore. No offence, Patrick. Thanks for everything, but yeah, I don't want to see it. But if Barker made that decision, I would understand it for sure.
Yeah, and I think in fairness, that says a lot about Joseph's performances and taking his opportunities. He's just not quite grasping his opportunities. But I think maybe debate was settled last night. Peru's the best striker we have. beyond them.
Yeah,
Whether or not he comes on the bench or starts, I agree with you. I do think he's more impactful from the bench, but I don't know if you, given the three we have, I don't know if you could leave him there for 70 minutes every week, because he was excellent when he came on, really excellent when he came on. So that's about it for that match. I think the next thing is a quick preview of Preston at the weekend. Last season, the answer to every question we asked you, Rocco, was Preston. Who scored that goal against us? It was Preston. When did we score? Yeah, Preston. So this week, when I said to you, God, I can't remember who we have the weekend, you said Preston. I didn't quite believe you, but it turns out you were telling
right
the
on
truth.
this guy. Yeah, it's like a broken clock. I was bound to get it right once if I kept saying Preston. Yeah, we have to smash them. I know we lost there last season. But yeah, I went to watch them against Fiorentina in pre-season because I'm a Fiorentina fan as well, and they were absolutely useless. So touching wood, obviously they could turn it on against Leeds. So often teams do, but we need to be getting back to winning ways away from home, and accelerating ahead of Burnley, and that getting a gap to the third place.
Yeah, actually, just to timestamp this, so this is kind of 9:10 on Wednesday night. Actually, Sheffield United are playing at the moment. I don't know how they're doing. I haven't had a look. But my phone was on airplane mode, so I can't really have a look right now. But yeah, Preston away last season was the one where Meslier got sent off.
That's right. Yeah,
so that's gonna
2-1.
Hopefully that's not going to happen again. And as I watch it now, Preston are actually 1-0 up against Cardiff in the 68th minute. And Sheffield United are 1-0 up against Millwall, which is bound to happen, given the Millwall announcement today about Neil Harris. It's like, on the day of a game, like, seriously, why does this always happen for our opponents? That, like, because Millwall were always going to just roll over tonight. Like, they've got too much going on at the club. Manager the players love is leaving, is getting good results. So they couldn't have done any better for Sheffield United, who will now leapfrog us in the table with a win there. But all we can do is keep looking after ourselves.
Definitely, yeah. I think I'm most concerned about Burnley, and I can't see them lasting the pace with us. And we just need to keep on ticking over, and we'll be absolutely fine. On a time limit, we're about to overstep the mark, I think.
Yeah. Well, that,
James will be.
Yes, he hates the. Well, not hates. He loves doing the editing, but he hates when we ramble on for so long. So with that, and on that note, we'll leave it there. James will be back in the presenter seat on Sunday, thank God, because he is the best presenter in Leeds podcast land, and he'll guide us through the ins and outs of Preston, where we will hopefully have another 3 points on our march towards the Premier League.